Hello, family. I'm coming on here, um, just to say some stuff, you know, kind of, expose some stuff about me, and about my past, I told y'all, that, I used to masturbate and stuff, and God delivered me from that, like maybe a month or two ago, was my last time doing it. And I know that for a fact, without a doubt, that God has delivered me from that. And, if you're, on here and you find yourself doing the same thing, I'm here to tell you to stop because, um, when you're doing it, there's a whole demon at the foot of your bed cheering you on, for you to open them doors and they come in, and it's just not a good thing to do, and it brings unwanted demons, to you, and you don't want that spirit on you, and it takes your energy, it drains your energy from you, you know. And so if you're a person doing this, I know they say, it's safe. It's safer to masturbate, but it's not safe at all. Ain't nothing safe about it. That's the lies that they tell us in the world. And it's not safe, y'all. Trust me, it's not safe. And it just open doors for demons to come in, and they don't want a demons. You don't want to have nothing to do with them type of demons. No demons at all. And that's another thing, God delivered me from, and back then, I even had a horoscope addiction. I was going on there all at work. I would go on the horoscopes, on the phone, looking at horoscopes, the palm reading, the tarot cards reading, and I was actually living by that stuff. I knew it was wrong, but I still was doing it. It was like I was addicted to just looking at it. And so I thank God, I repented. I asked God to forgive me for that, and I didn't go back to it, because I know it's not right. It's not of God. God wants us in His Word not to, be, dealing in how did He say it? For us not to be into that type of stuff. But I'm gonna find a Bible verse and I'll put it in the description box for y'all. But it's not of God. It's that's not something you want to do neither. And I picked up, like, I wasn't never addicted to porn, but I did get into porn. Watching some porn on my phone. At once upon a time, in my life, and God delivered me from that because I wasn't addicted. I was just watching it. Some was just to please myself, and the other was just out of curiosity, because I don't know why I'm kind of nosy like that, but and I be wanting to know for some reason, but you ain't gotta know everything. And so don't do that. That's show not of God. You gotta protect your eye gates and everything, and that falls into the whole masturbating and all that stuff. That's some doors you don't want to open either, because you open doors to demons. And I even had I told y'all about the cigarette smoke addiction. I went from cigarettes to smoking a vape, and from the vape I went to the BLKs, which is cigars, because they was cheaper. They was only like $1.40, $1.61 or something like that. And I'm still having trouble with that. I'm praying, and I'm believing God that He's gonna deliver me from that as well as everything else He's delivered me from. And with that, it's like a fear of stopping and not having it, if that makes sense. And I had an addiction with drinking. I used to drink too, but it wasn't never addiction. I didn't have to have it. I used to smoke weed. That wasn't. I was never addicted to that. It's like I didn't have to have that. So I wasn't. It wasn't no drug addiction, and I didn't have a drinking addiction. But I did drink. In my past. But it's not something that I needed. What I felt like I needed. That I was addicted to. I wasn't addicted to smoking and weed and drinking. But of course, God took all that from me. He took that beer taste out of my mouth, wine taste, liquor taste out my mouth, to where I like even wine. I just don't even want to drink wine because I just don't have a taste for none of it. God removed it. He took that taste right out of my mouth. So the energy drinks, be careful on that, because that's of 3 6s. That's of the enemy. They had this one. I used to drink the Monsters too, but I had got addicted to these ones. It was in a blue can. I think it was by Full Throttle, and it was called Blue Demons. And it was just what the name said, because I had got addicted to these. I was drinking so many energy drinks a day. It was about a good 8, 9, 10. I was just drinking them all day. It wasn't doing nothing for me. It wasn't giving me no energy or nothing, but it's like I was just addicted to